All right, let's take a look at Desmond the bird-killing cat on his murderous outing. Oh, geez, that's kind of crazy sounding. But, you know, you might have a cat that likes to eat birds. I don't know. Anyways, first off, I'm just going to outline right here our XY axes so it's a little bit easier to see. And then let's kind of take a look at this graph. It looks like maybe the cat is on the move because his distance away from home starts changing. So he goes maybe 30 feet away from home, and then he starts standing still. Time passes, but his distance doesn't change. So that means he's staying still at this point. And then he's slowly moving. I know he's moving slower because the slope is more shallow here. So he's slowly moving, and then something happens, and he like runs back home. And when 10 minutes has up, his distance from home is 0, so it means he's back home. So let's try to see what happened to Desmond. It says, how far is Desmond from the house when he is lying under the bush watching the bird? So he's probably not moving. So I think that would be at this point here. How far is he from home? Well, that would be measured here. It looks like these are all increments of 10. So this is 10 feet from home, 12 feet, or 10 feet from home, 20 feet from home, 30 feet from home. And then it says, how long, so time, how long is Desmond watching the bird before he begins to slowly stalk the bird? Again, we're looking at this part of time, but now we're looking down here. So how much time has passed in this little blue portion? 2 minutes. It looks like 2 minutes he's standing still. Then it says when, so a time, does he catch the bird before he runs back to the house to show you his present? Oh, that must be what's happening here. He catches the bird and then he runs back home. So when does he catch the bird? So like how long has he been outside at that point? So that looks like 8 minutes after he left the house. And then 29 says, if he left the house at 9:15, at what time does he catch the bird? Okay, so that's if he left the house at 9:15 and then 8 minutes later he catches the bird, that's just 9:15 plus 8 minutes. So that would be 9:23 a.m. And then last one, how long was he outside on his bird catching adventure? So the entire time he was outside. Looks like he comes back home at 10 minutes later. All right, cool. All right, for these last 4, we need to solve these using substitution, elimination, or graphing. If you do choose to use graphing, please use graph paper and attach them to this assignment. I usually stick with elimination because I think that's the easiest. You can totally do substitution here, but I think that like number 31 is totally set up for elimination the way it is right now, because I see that there's a positive k and a negative k. So if I add these two together, these k's will eliminate or cancel each other out. On this side, that I have 2h plus 3 more h, so that's 5h total. Again, the k's are gone, and they equal 8 plus 7, that's 15. If I just divide by 5, I know that h then is equal to 3. So you know one of your answers, plug it back into either one of the original equations, and you'll get what your k is. For some reason, I just decided I'm going to pick the top equation. You could totally pick the bottom one. It doesn't matter. But basically, I plugged in h is 3, so I just said 3, and then I'm going to solve it. So I have 6 plus k equals 8, so minus 6 from both sides, and I have k equals 2. So you have your h and your k, you're good to go. Number 32. 32 I think is really close to being set up well for elimination. If we can get maybe both the j's to be a common number, so maybe I could make this a -6 and this a +6, and they would cancel out. So what do I have to times the top equation by to get this to be -6? Well, if I times it by 2, and of course I'm timesing everything by 2, I would get 4k, and then I would get -6j like I want, and that equals to 40. Notice I times everything by that 2. Okay, so now I have negative 6 here, so if I could make this guy a positive 6, we'd be in good shape. That means I have to times the bottom by 3, because then I'd have 33k and positive 6j, perfect, and then equals negative 3. Now go ahead and add these guys together, and you will see that your j's will eliminate. On the leftmost side, I have 37k. These guys eliminate, equals, 37. So if I divide both sides by 37, I see that k equals 1. Awesome. Now just plug this k back into either one of the original equations and you'll have your answer for j. I think I'm going to pick the top equation, which was originally 2k minus 3j equals 20. And instead of writing k, I'm going to write what k equals, which is 1. So 2 times 1 minus 3j equals 20. So in other words, 2 minus 3j equals 20. If I subtract 2 from both sides, I have negative 3j equals 18. And if I divide by negative 3 to get j by itself, I have j equals negative 6. So I have my j and my k. We're done with number 32. Number 33 is almost set up for elimination. If I can make one of these negative 7s be positive, then I could add and these would be eliminated. So I think I'm going to times the bottom equation by negative 1. In other words, switching the sign on every single number inside of that equation. So now I have negative 5x, positive 7y, and equals positive 34. I did not change the top equation. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. 4x minus 7y equals negative 30. And now if we add these together, the y's will eliminate each other. So on the leftmost side, it looks like I have negative 1x equals, if I add these together, 4. So if I divide both sides by negative 1 here, I have x equals negative 4 for my answer for x. I'm going to plug that back into the top equation. My top equation was 4x minus 7y equals negative 30, and I'm going to plug in x is negative 4. So I have 4 times negative 4 minus 7y equals negative 30, and I'm going to solve this. So this gives me negative 16 minus 7y equals negative 30. I'm going to add that 16 over to the other side, which will give me negative 7y equals negative 14. So if I divide by negative 7, a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so y equals 2. Y equals 2 and x is negative 4. Last but not least, number 34 here, I am going to times the bottom equation by negative 3. If I do that, my w's will cancel. On the top, I'm not changing anything. I'm just going to rewrite it here. I'm not changing the top equation, but on the bottom, I'm timesing everything by negative 3. So that way I get negative 3w, positive 15x, and negative 18. If I add these together, we see that my w's cancel. I will have then 19x equals negative 20 and negative 18 give me negative 38. If I divide both sides by 19 then, that means that my x is equal to negative 2. Let's plug that x is negative 2 back into my bottom equation. I'm just going to pick the bottom because it's a little bit easier with that w all by itself there. So my x is negative 2, so I have w minus 5 times negative 2 equals 6. So that means I really right here have w plus 10 equals 6. If I subtract 10 from both sides, that means I have w equals negative 4 for my answer for w.